Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United will be forced into a swap deal for Paul Pogba if Paul Pogba leaves the club in the summer. Now it says that Juventus are willing to offer Paulo Dybala in a swap deal for Paul Pogba. Fabrizio Romano says that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Paul Pogba. There was narratives coming from the Italian press earlier on this season saying that Juventus tried to offer us 4 players for Paul Pogba. I said there's a good chance he'll go back to Juventus because he did endure 4 very good years with them before he rejoined Manchester United. Paul Pogba has had a long-running transfer saga. He hasn't only been linked with a return to Juventus, he's been linked with Real Madrid before, and he's also been linked with PSG. Now it looks very likely that Pogba's going to leave the club in the summer because he still wants to quit Manchester United and he's rejected a new contract. Damasio says that Paul Pogba's got no intentions of extending his Man United contract and his preferred destination is Juventus. Mino Raiola has obviously been desperate to get his client out of the football club. He made an announcement back in December regarding Paul Pogba, saying that his career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement. But earlier on this season, Mino Raiola said he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season and he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer because Mino Raiola has been criticised a lot and he doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. He recently criticised Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Paul Pogba out of the club when he was younger, and all United fans disagreed with him criticising Ferguson. Mino Raiola's also come out and said he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't get another player to Man United as long as his clients are happy. Now earlier on this season, Solskjaer said he was hopeful that Paul Pogba would stay and sign a new contract. We have been in negotiations with Paul Pogba over a new contract. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. So I think he'll have to go in the summer transfer window of this year if we are to cash in for him. Because obviously there's a good chance he'll go on a free next year if he doesn't leave in this year's summer transfer window. We've been getting the best out of Paul Pogba in recent months. Obviously came on against Milan, made an instant impact and scored the goal. He was out with a thigh injury for a while. At the first part of this season, he had an ankle injury and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So he has sustained a few injuries at Manchester United. Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, he gave us an update on Paul Pogba's future earlier on this season. And he advised us to sell Paul Pogba in the summer transfer window because he said there is a good chance he will leave for free next year. And he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him. This is Paul Pogba's 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's won 3 trophies so far. That's the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. Now, I want to give you some news on Jadon Sacho. So, according to Fabrizio Romano, Man United have not yet made a decision on Jadon Sacho. Now, it recently mentioned that we are still interested in him. We believe there's a chance we can get him for £50 million, which is a cut price fee. I think we've been in for Jadon Sancho for like the last 2 years. He has visited our Carrington training ground quite a few times. Earlier on this season, he made an admission saying that he has enjoyed a difficult season at Dortmund. Bill did say earlier on this season that Dortmund had reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. Earlier on this season, it said we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Now, last summer, he was our number one priority target. But the main explanation we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet Dortmund's 108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front. But it said last summer that we'd agreed the personal terms for Sancho, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. Dortmund said to us last summer that we had until the 10th of August to sign Sancho, but we missed out on that deadline, so he remained at Dortmund. And Fabrizio Romano has spoken a lot about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga, and so too has Bill's Christian Falk. Analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career at Dortmund, he's been very, very consistent. You know, this is his 4th season with them. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. Don't forget, we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. Now, you obviously know the news on Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola, and his father, Alf Hinch Haaland, have jetted into England for talks with Manchester United and several other Premier League clubs. It was only yesterday that Erling Haaland and Mino Raiola were in Barcelona having talks. I think they've also held talks with Real Madrid. Now, I heard that Erling Haaland is demanding £600,000 a week from his next club. I'd love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to sign him, because obviously Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer worked with Haaland at Mulder. He gave him his debut at just the age of 16. And there was narratives coming out the other week saying that Solskjaer keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. And earlier on this season, Ollie said he was following Erling Haaland's progress and he's keeping in touch with him. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has revealed that Haaland struggled with bad knees at Mulder, and he revealed how impressed he was with Haaland's training during his time at Mulder. Erling Haaland's father has spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United before, and he's spoken about his son's career and his prospects. Yeah, there's a good chance Haaland's going to leave, especially if Dortmund fail to qualify for the Champions League. Haaland has a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. Dortmund have set their asking price, I think it's £130 million, but it said the other week it was £154 million, and Dortmund will find it extremely difficult to sell him if they are demanding that much. He's been at Dortmund around 16 months now, but since his arrival at Dortmund he's been a revelation. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2024. But no, we won't sign Haaland and Sancho. That won't happen. So who would you pick? This morning I give you the news on Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. The Spanish newspaper ABC have said that Real Madrid have set a 59 million asking price for Rafael Varane, and the Spanish transfer expert Eduardo Inda has said that Rafael Varane could be on his way to Man United in the summer, because Rafael Varane's contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. Mundo Deportivo said the other week that Rafael Varane's future is in doubt. But I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because he's a world-class centre-half. He'd go very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line, and he's highly experienced. He's 27 years of age. And if he comes to Man United, I can assure he'll replicate what he's been doing at Real Madrid. He's been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with them like 10 years now. He's won 18 major honours, including the FIFA Club World Cup. He's made over 300 appearances. Real Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. He's under contract with Real Madrid until 2022. But I'm expecting Man United to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. I reckon Solskjaer needs at least £200 million. Just need to put this on charge. Wait there a second. If he's to get the players he wants to recommend in. And I've identified the weaknesses in the squad. I think Man United need a striker, we need a right winger, we need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. Now, it said earlier on this season our transfer budget had been revealed. It was £80 million. And quite a lot of United fans were shocked in that aspect because we know £80 million is nowhere near enough for us to get the players we want to recommend in. But this year's summer transfer window is massive for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window. He will be Man United manager next season, because we've already said that Solskjaer will not be sacked even if we fail to win the Europa League this season. Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United because he's not yet won a trophy. And we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. A club of our stature needs to be winning trophies. Solskjaer did say the other week that winning trophies can be an ego thing. He said that having regards to some other clubs and some other managers. And he says clubs like Man United, trophies no longer prove success. But I've got to totally disagree with him in that aspect. As you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has already agreed to sign a new 3-year contract worth £30 million. It's likely to be 2 years with an option of an extra one. Sources at Old Trafford did say a few weeks ago that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal, because Ole is now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. I think a lot of Man United fans disagree with us giving him a new contract. He won't see it out anyway. Does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But I can assure he isn't the long-term manager for Manchester United. But even if we wanted to sack him now, we wouldn't be able to, because as far as I'm aware at the moment, there's no one available. And to be honest with you, if the club did decide to sack him eventually, it wouldn't really solve anything, because when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame is stemmed from him. He's obviously accountable for a few things, but it's never all the manager's fault. But yeah, there's a lot of United fans that are Ollie out. Ollie outs were trending on social media after our 3-1 defeat to Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final. But Solskjaer should get the backing he deserves in the summer transfer window. Because obviously Woodward has come out and said that he believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. So in that aspect, Woodward is backing him. And in general, he's come out several times to show his support for Ole, even when we was enduring them really bad periods. And he said towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Plus, we've got John Murtough. He's our director of football. And he knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United since 2014. And obviously we've got Darren Fletcher. He's our technical director. And he knows the club through thick and thin because he endured 2 decades as a player for Manchester United. And Solskjaer's already had a meeting with our recruitment team, discussing our transfer targets and discussing our transfer plans in general for the summer. Ole did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic. But this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season at the club. Next season will be his third full season at the club. I kind of sure we'll finish in the top 4 this season. There's a good chance that we'll finish second. But a second place finish isn't good enough if we don't win the Europa League. If we finish second and win the Europa League, I'll turn around and say that represents a good season for Man United. That gives us something to build on going on into next season. I've told you my 2 biggest concerns about Ole is his decision making, and he doesn't have a proven pedigree as a manager. He's been Man United manager now over 2 years. He's tried a few different elements as Man United manager. He's gained managerial experience, reflecting how long he's been at the club, and you can say he's learned quite a few things on the job. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff, and he endured a very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he got Cardiff relegated. And he managed the Man United reserve team for a couple of years, so he watched some of this team grow and develop. The main explanation Solskjaer is still Man United manager is because he's a club legend. But disregarding being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been Manchester United manager now. But there's quite a few things we've got to credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for. We are second in the Premier League. At one point, it got us top of the Premier League. That's when we was in the title race. We've got a very, very good away record under him. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We've enjoyed good periods under Ole where we have seen consistency. Got us to the FA Cup quarter-final. Got us to the Europa League quarter-final. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final. Lost 2-0 to City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. Guided us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish and qualification for the Champions League. Solskjaer has made some good signings. He's spent almost £300 million so far. He's brought players like James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. Also brought Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in on loan. Ighalo left in January of this year. And also brought Donny van de Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Mad Diallo Traore and Facundo Palestra. And Facundo Palestra went out on loan in January. I do also like the way that Ole has promoted the youth. But as yet, Solskjaer hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in as well. And Solskjaer's beaten a few big name managers. He's beaten Guardiola quite a few times. He's beaten Carlo Ancelotti. He's beaten Jose Mourinho. Beating Jurgen Klopp in the FA Cup. He's beaten Brendan Rodgers a couple of times. He's beaten Thomas Tuchel. twice. That's when he was PSG manager, and he's also beaten Julian Nagelsmann. But I do think that Solskjaer is in a position he shouldn't be really in. I just don't think he's got that big club arrogance as a manager. And Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the culture of the club, because Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. But in the last 8 years, nothing has changed at Manchester United. It's just been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency. You know, we've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. He's the worst manager we've ever had. And we finished 7th under the Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, despite him winning the FA Cup. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after, 2.5 years. He won the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield at Man United. Also got second, I think, in his first season. So Mourinho enjoyed one good season at the club. The main explanations it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, bad disputes with a lot of the top players. And in general, the board weren't backing the signings he wanted to recommend in. And maybe you can say we did get Mourinho in too late. Maybe we should have got him in when Ferguson retired. Mistakes have been made in the last 8 years. You know, that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been. The board has definitely been one of the biggest issues at the club for a while, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players, and in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players that they wanted to recommend in. And we spent over £1 billion in the last 8 years. Must have brought around 37 players in since Ferguson retired. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, and that's 8 years ago now. And I don't think Solskjaer's good enough to lead us to a Premier League title. Yeah, quite a few players are going to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. It looks very likely that Cavani's going to be going. I updated you this morning, didn't I? Football Insider have said that Cavani is willing to take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. He's already reached a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors. Now, it recently said that Man United held showdown talks with Edison Cavani over his future at the club. We want to convince him to stay. Edison Cavani's current contract expires at the end of the season. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. The Uruguay court recently urged Edison Cavani to leave. Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's hopeful that Cavani will stay, and he revealed that we have been in contract discussions with him. But Ollie did say that Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. His father came out earlier on this season, Edison Cavani's, and he said that Cavani is unhappy. He doesn't feel comfortable in England and he wants to leave. He's sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. We got him on a free transfer last summer, signed a 1-year contract with an option of a 2nd year. Anthony Martial, there's a lot of Man United fans that are saying we need to sell him in the summer transfer window because he has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. Chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them. Martial's actually out with injury at the moment. He sustained an injury whilst on international duty. He had a hip injury for us not so long ago, and he was injured before that. I reckon Martial's had 2 good seasons. You know, he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal, and he was good last season. He's been at the club now over 5 years. We got Martial in a deal worth 54 million from Monaco, and I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. But Solskjaer earlier on this season backed him to rediscover his form, and he said he's been impressed with his work rate. But if we sell him in the summer transfer window, I reckon we'll get around £30 million. Juan Mata, there's a good chance he's going to go because his current contract expires in June. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. But Juan Mata doesn't get in the team, does he? Earlier on this season, he rejected an $18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. But I think he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years now. He's made over 200 appearances in all competitions and he's scored 50 goals. And we got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. Nemanja Matic, good chance we're going to offload him because he isn't one of our first choice midfielders. Donny van der Beek, there's a good chance he's going to go. I think we need to sell Donny van der Beek in the summer transfer window because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. Now, it's recently said that Man United are considering a swap deal for Donny van der Beek. And Tuttosport have said that we're willing to offer Donny van der Beek to Juventus in exchange for Adrian Rabiot. You know, Mark Hughes was talking about him not so long ago, and he said that Donny van der Beek feels lost at Man United and he's edging closer to a Man United exit. He recently said, though, that he feels loved at Man United despite his lack of game time. Earlier on this season, it said that Van der Beek wants to quit Man United after one season. And he said he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. But we don't use him enough. You know, most of Donny van der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. You know, we got him in a deal worth £40 million from Ajax last summer. But I expected him to play a hell of a lot more than he has done. Phil Jones, I'm also expecting him to leave as well. I think we'll be looking to get rid of Delors permanently. De Gea, I think there's a good chance that we'll sell him. I reckon De Gea has had his years at Manchester United. So, there you go. But there's also a lot of players that will stay in the summer transfer window. And I think there's a few players at Man United that have got long-term futures. I really do. But like I've said, we haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired. And like I've said time and time again, no one's going to replicate Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy. No one's going to last as long as he did. Ferguson endured a 26, 27-year tenure at Man United, won 30-odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. So he brought success to the club. But Ferguson didn't settle in at Man United straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the club, did he? And a lot of United fans predicted it were all going to go wrong when Ferguson retired, which it did. The only mistake Sir Alex Ferguson made was recommending David Moyes in at that time. But the main explanation he did it is because obviously Ferguson had a lot of time for Moyes and they're both Scottish. So yeah, by the way, on my next video, I will be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Brighton. I was supposed to be doing it on this video, but I thought I'd do this video before I did the press conference reaction. So anyway, guys, join me later on for the reaction to the press conference. I'll see you all again very, very soon.